Driftwood dreams. The sun kisses the horizon, painting the sky in a fiery dance of oranges and pinks as the motorcycle's roar fades into the distance. The quiet is a balm, and Suki and I lean into each other, the warmth of our bodies melding together. We're both a mess of adrenaline and desire, the scent of rain-soaked earth and gasoline thick in the air. "You know what we need to do," she murmurs against my neck, her breath tickling my skin. "We've got to tell them about the journal. The eye symbol on the cover. It matches the one from the cookie tin." My heart skips a beat as the pieces of the puzzle click into place. "Your grandma's sister in Japan," I say. "This book has to be from her." Suki nods, her eyes lighting up with excitement. "And now we know the truth about the eye symbol. It's not just a family heirloom. It's part of something much bigger." The wind picks up, carrying with it a whisper of salt from the ocean, hinting at adventure and secrets waiting to be uncovered. "We're going to Japan," she says, her voice filled with determination. "We're going to find out what this all means." I swipe a lock of wet hair from my forehead and force a smile, trying to keep my nerves at bay. "And what about Tara?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. "What if she finds out?" Suki looks at me, her eyes serious. "Then she'll have to deal with it. This is about us now." She reaches out and takes my hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. "You and me, Rosie." Summary 1. Rosie and Suki, relieved to have evaded pursuit, discuss the significance of the eye symbol on the journal cover that matches Suki's grandma's cookie tin. The symbol's origins trace back to Japan, prompting them to consider a trip there to uncover the truth. Despite potential consequences with Tara, Suki reassures Rosie that their friendship is the priority. The name of our journey becomes clear. The Eye of the Tide. It's a name that whispers of hidden truths and the relentless pull of the ocean. It's a name that makes me feel like we're on the cusp of something incredible, something that will change everything. I look into her eyes and nod. "Okay," I say. "Let's go." The next paragraph should introduce new characters and setting for the story. As we drive through the night, the rain turns to a gentle patter against the windshield, the wipers swiping it away in rhythmic strokes. The scenery outside shifts from urban sprawl to rolling countryside, the headlights piercing the dark. We're on the edge of something, and I can feel the excitement bubbling in my chest. We've got our passports, a couple of changes of clothes, and the mysterious journal in my bag. The GPS guides us to a quaint little bed and breakfast, nestled in a cove surrounded by tall, whispering pines. It's the perfect place to lay low before our flight to Japan. Inside, the B&B is warm and inviting. The walls are adorned with shipwreck art, and the scent of freshly baked cookies fills the air. The owner, a plump woman with a kind smile named Mrs. McAllister, checks us in with a knowing wink. "You girls look like you've had an adventure," she says, eyeing our soaked clothes. Suki flashes her a grin. "You wouldn't believe us if we told you." Summary 1. Rosie and Suki, after their intense encounter, decide to pursue the mystery of the eye symbol by naming their journey the Eye of the Tide. They leave the city for a quiet B&B, feeling excitement for what lies ahead, and are greeted by the knowing Mrs. McAllister, who senses their adventurous spirits despite their disheveled state. Mrs. McAllister laughs. "I've seen enough in my days to believe just about anything. You're in room 3 right beside the kitchen. Help yourselves to cookies. Breakfast is at 7. We climb the creaky stairs to our room, the walls lined with more nautical-themed art. I can't help but feel like we're in some sort of pirate hideout. The room itself is small but cozy, with a 4-poster bed that looks like it's been there for centuries. "This is different," I say, setting my bag on the bed. Suki looks around, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "It's perfect. Just like our little getaway." She turns to me, her smile fading into something more serious. "Rosie, I'm so sorry about what happened with Tara. I had no idea." I shrug. "It's okay. I'm over it. But the hurt is still there, a dull ache that lingers. Let's just focus on what's ahead of us." She nods, and for a moment we stand there in the dim light, just looking at each other. The air is thick with unspoken words and the promise of adventure. And for the first time since the motorcycles chased us down the highway, I feel a flicker of something hopeful in my chest. Maybe, just maybe, this trip will be more than just a quest to uncover secrets. Maybe it's the start of something new for us. Summary: 1. At the B&B, Mrs. McAllister's knowing manner and the cozy room filled with nautical decor add to the adventurous atmosphere. Suki expresses her regret about Tara, and Rosie, though still hurt, suggests focusing on the journey ahead, hinting at a potential romantic shift in their relationship as the adventure unfolds. The next morning, we wake up to the smell of bacon and eggs wafting from the kitchen below. I stretch, feeling the ache of muscles and used to so much excitement. Suki is already up, her nose buried in the journal. "Look at this," she says, holding up a page filled with kanji. "It's a map. I think it's leading us to something in Japan." We scarf down breakfast, the sweetness of the syrup on our pancakes a stark contrast to the urgency of our mission. As we pack up and head out to the airport, the wind has picked up, sending leaves scurrying across the parking lot. It feels like the universe is pushing us forward. "The Eye of the Tide," I murmur, trying out the name. It rolls off my tongue like a wave, powerful and all-encompassing. It's like we're on a treasure hunt. Suki laughs. "Yeah, except the treasure is the truth." As we board the plane, the gravity of our situation starts to set in. We're not just going on a vacation. We're embarking on a journey that could change everything. We're about to dive headfirst into a mystery that's been hidden for generations, and there's no telling what we'll find at the other end. But for now, all we have are each other, the warmth of the journal between us, and the endless horizon that stretches out before us. The flight to Japan is long, but the anticipation keeps us buzzing. We spend hours discussing the journal, piecing together the clues and trying to figure out what the eye symbol might mean. Suki's knowledge of Japanese culture and language is invaluable, and I find myself falling a little more for her with every shared insight. As we land in Tokyo, the city lights up the night like a neon kaleidoscope. We're greeted by the chaos of a foreign airport, the cacophony of voices speaking in a language I don't understand, and the unmistakable buzz of a city that never sleeps. Suki's hand finds mine and she squeezes tight. "Ready for this?" I swallow hard and nod. Ready as I'll ever be. We navigate the airport, the kanji signs swirling around us like a sea of ink. The hum of the city is a siren's call, and I know that we're about to dive into the deep end of the ocean, with no idea what monsters might lie beneath the surface. But with Suki beside me, I feel like I can face anything. Our first stop is a small, out-of-the-way tea house that her grandma used to talk about. It's a place of quiet beauty, where the air is thick with the scent of incense and the sound of water trickling over rocks. The old woman who runs it looks us over with sharp eyes, then nods as if she's been expecting us. She takes the journal from us with trembling hands, her eyes brimming with tears as she reads the inscription inside the cover. "You are the seekers," she whispers, "the ones who will find the eye." The air in the tea house feels charged, like the moment before a storm. Suki and I share a look, and I know we're both thinking the same thing. We're not just in over our heads, we're in a whole different ocean. We follow her to a back room, where she opens a hidden panel in the wall. Inside is a collection of artifacts that look like they belong in a museum. Ancient scrolls, ornate weapons, and a crystal that glows with a mysterious light. She takes out a map, much like the one in the journal but more detailed. "This will guide you," she says, placing it into our hands. "But beware, the journey is not an easy one. There are those who will stop at nothing to keep the eye's secrets hidden." We exchange a nervous glance. The gravity of our quest settles on us like a heavy blanket. "Thank you," I murmur, bowing slightly. Suki nods. "Thank you for entrusting us with this." The woman smiles, a knowing look in her eye. "You have been chosen. The eye will guide you." With a heavy heart and a newfound resolve, we set forth into the neon labyrinth of Tokyo, the whispers of the Eye of the Tide echoing in our ears. The journal's secrets had drawn us to this distant shore, and we were now bound by fate to unravel its mysteries. The city was a blur of vibrant colors and unfamiliar faces as we wove through the crowded streets, the map from the tea house our compass in the chaos. The air was electric with the promise of discovery, the neon lights a stark contrast to the shadowy whispers of the night. Every alley and corner held the potential for revelation or danger, and our senses were on high alert. Our first clue led us to a bustling market, where the cries of vendors hawking their wares melded with the hum of 1,000 conversations. We moved with purpose, the journal's pages fluttering like a beacon in the wind. The smells of exotic spices and fresh sushi filled the air, making my stomach growl, but we couldn't stop. We were on a mission that went beyond hunger or fatigue. We found what we were looking for in the heart of the market. A stall that sold antique trinkets, the kind that held stories of love and loss in every crevice. The vendor, an old man with a gentle smile, nodded when we showed him the map. "Ah," he said, his eyes lighting up. "You seek the eye." He handed us a tiny wooden box, carved with the same eye symbol. "This will help you find what you're looking for." Inside the box was a key, intricately designed and gleaming in the dim light. "What does it open?" I asked, turning it over in my hand. "Only the eye knows," he replied enigmatically before shooing us away with a chuckle. The next morning, we found ourselves at the edge of the city, where the urban sprawl gave way to the majesty of the countryside. A steep, winding road led us to a monastery nestled in the mountains, the kind of place that looked untouched by time. It was here that we would find the next piece of the puzzle, the next step in our journey. Suki and I exchanged glances as we climbed the ancient stone steps, our breaths misting in the crisp morning air. The silence of the monastery grounds was a stark contrast to the city's cacophony. We felt like we were entering a sacred space, one that held secrets that could shake the very fabric of our lives. The monks greeted us with quiet nods, leading us to an ancient library filled with scrolls and manuscripts. The air was thick with dust and wisdom, the scent of history clinging to every page we turned. It was here that we discovered the legend of the Eye of the Tide, a relic with the power to reveal hidden truths and unite lost souls. It was a tale of love and sacrifice, of family and destiny, and it resonated within us like a struck chord. Our hearts pounded as we read, each word bringing us closer to the reality of our quest. We weren't just chasing a story. We were becoming a part of it, entwined in the very fabric of its ancient tapestry. "The Eye of the Tide," we whispered, feeling the weight of our mission in those 3 simple words. It was a name that held the promise of revelation and the power to heal the scars of the past. The monastery's quietude was a stark contrast to the tumultuous emotions swirling within us. We studied the ancient texts with fervor, piecing together the puzzle of our journey. The legend spoke of a time when the world was veiled in darkness, and only the light of the eye could pierce the shadows. It was a story of love and loss, of hope against the tide of fate. With the key in hand and the legend's guidance in our hearts, we ventured forth, the wind whispering our newfound name like a secret shared among old friends. The countryside rolled out before us, a canvas painted with shades of green that seemed to pulse with the rhythm of the earth. Each step was a verse in our epic poem, each challenge a refrain that echoed through the ages. Our travels took us through bamboo forests that whispered secrets and over bridges that spanned chasms of unspeakable beauty. We encountered kind souls who offered us food and shelter, and we shared our tale of the Eye of the Tide. The name grew with each telling, becoming a legend in its own right. And with every retelling, the bond between us grew stronger, a silent promise that we would face whatever lay ahead together. Suki and I grew closer as we traversed the land, each clue bringing us closer to the truth. We laughed in the face of danger and held each other tight when the shadows grew long. Our friendship had become something more, a love that transcended the pages of the journal, a love that could conquer any obstacle. We arrived at the final destination, a hidden cave by the sea, the waves crashing against the rocks below. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a silver path to the entrance. "This is it," she murmured, her eyes gleaming. I took a deep breath, feeling the salt air fill my lungs. The Eye of the Tide awaits. The cave was a maze of darkness, the walls glittering with crystals that caught the moonlight like 1,000 stars. We moved with care, our footsteps echoing through the chamber. The air grew thick with anticipation, the scent of brine and earth mingling with something ancient and powerful. And then we saw it. A stone pedestal, atop which rested a crystal sphere, the size of a softball pulsating with light. The Eye, the source of the legend, the key to our future. Suki reached out, her hand trembling. "It's beautiful." I nodded, unable to speak. We were standing before a piece of history that could change everything we knew. And as she took the key and inserted it into the crystal's center, the sphere opened, revealing a swirling mass of light that seemed to sing with the voices of our ancestors. The light grew brighter, enveloping us in a warm embrace. I felt a surge of power, a connection to every heart that had ever loved and lost, every soul that had ever sought the truth. And in that moment, I knew that no matter where the tide took us, we would always find our way back to each other. The Eye of the Tide had chosen us, and we had chosen each other. We stepped into the light, hand in hand, ready to face whatever lay beyond the veil of secrets. The crystal sphere hummed to life, the light growing so bright that it seemed to burn away the very shadows of doubt and fear. We were bathed in a glow that washed away the grime of our journey, leaving us new and pure. The whispers grew louder, a symphony of voices that spoke of love and destiny, of hearts intertwined across the sands of time. The Eye of the Tide revealed to us a truth so profound that it shook the very core of our beings. A truth that had been hidden for generations, waiting for the right souls to uncover it. The light grew to a crescendo, and as it did, we saw images flicker within the crystal's depths. Moments of joy and sorrow, of triumph and defeat. We saw ourselves reflected in the heart of the Eye, our destinies woven together like the threads of a finely spun tapestry. The revelation was overwhelming, a wave that crashed over us, leaving us gasping for air. But amidst the chaos of emotions, there was a calm certainty that grew within me. This journey had been about more than just finding the Eye. It had been about finding each other. We stepped out of the cave, the light of the Eye dimming but not gone. It remained with us, a beacon in the dark, a symbol of our love and the truth we had uncovered. The moon had set, but the stars above shone with a new brightness, as if they too had been touched by the Eye's power. We held on to each other, the chill of the night forgotten in the warmth of our shared secret. The world had changed, and we had changed with it. We had become more than just friends on a quest. We were guardians of the Eye, bound together by a destiny that stretched back through the annals of time. And as the first light of dawn kissed the horizon, we knew that no matter what the future held, we would face it as one. Our journey had led us to the edge of the world, and we had looked into the abyss and found love staring back. "The Eye of the Tide," I whispered, feeling the power of the name resonate within me. It was our story now, our legend, our truth. And as we descended the cliff path, the ocean spread out before us, vast and unknowable. I knew that together we could conquer any tide.